Hey, so with the guide to home care package services PDF document, this screen shows the list of pages I found most useful. So first of all, what is it? The amount that you get paid for each package level, what you can and can't use for it. Once you do become eligible for it, what happens then? Page 19 talks about what provider charges you get, and also page 40 talks about what checklists you should be using when selecting a home care provider, when you're entering a home care agreement, and what happens when you're changing providers. Okay, so now we're going to go through Home Care Packages Services Guide, and this is a very useful document I found, despite it being quite lengthy. So just type into Google Home Care Packages Services Guide. You can go through the aged care website, but websites are quite lengthy to get your head around, and we're trying to minimize as much time spent on this admin work as much as we can and get straight to the point. So I advise like Google's actually quite good with that. So just type in, just type that in, Google search, and then scroll down, and you want to click on the guide where it says My Aged Care Gov, right? If you're in Australia, that's definitely what you want to do. Click on this and you'll find this is the current PDF. Maybe in the future will change, but this is actually a very good guide. And now I'm just going to take you through the main pages I found very useful. This is the cover sheet, then you've got your contents. Some people like to read everything properly and get a thorough understanding. I am someone who prefers to get straight to the point, but here is the contents page, and that's fine. Um, yeah. So the pages I found particularly useful is what is a home care package? Depending on how many people or who you talk to, maybe you already know what a home care package is. But at the time when my dad got sick, I had no one who was going through the same thing, and I had heard someone flag the home care package, but I really had to research this from the get-go. I didn't know what it even was. But if you know what it is, skip that page. I found this really useful, how the government contributes to the cost of your home care package. Look at can I get one? But this usually, if you can get one, you probably wouldn't be accessing the home care package if there are some circumstances that warrant it. But then there is a pathway to accessing a home care package. And then you can find out some of the details here, and then I found these checklists to be particularly useful. So if we go to the pages I found useful first, so page 4 talks about how the home care package is structured. So there are 4 levels. There's level 4, which is the most serious package. I think I've seen a couple of case studies where you're really needing someone's help. There's level 3. Level 3 is the one that my dad is currently on. So depending on your circumstances, have a read of that. I think that's pretty straightforward, not too much. One is just like very basic needs. I found page 5 to be particularly useful because the whole point of a home care package is to get financial assistance, and this kind of tells you around about how much money you can expect the government to pay or to help out with. And if you're on a home care package of level 3, you actually get around an approximate value of 33K that the government subsidizes. But no, don't misunderstand this. Like, you have to pay yourself, as it makes it quite clear. There is a subsidy. You do need to pay a part of it as well. And yeah, so that's this page. I think it's very useful to look at. It gives you an approximate kind of an idea of, a ballpark figure of, okay, maybe I can get this amount of assistance, right? And this is very useful once you do get the home care package. What can the package be used for? So this was page 5, and this page 6. A lot of this is quite straightforward. I think the only thing that wasn't straightforward was I was like, what is continence management? And yeah, so these are things like urinals and urinal. See, this was actually the newest thing. But something like an example of continence management that I've had to use is like adult nappies. So when my dad first got out of surgery, he needed help uh, going to the toilet, and so there was this. He also needed to use adult nappies, so that would count as continence management. But depending on, your situation, it could cover a lot of different things. Um, the next thing is, a home care package could also be used to use telehealth, um, and digital technology. Now, I've seen I was watching something online the other day, and there's an app for dementia that it's like a sensor app. I'm not sure if this is covered. So if anyone has any kind of, input into it, that's also useful. This is something that you can't use a home care package funds for, so you can't use it to pay for like, basic electricity or food like bread and this kind of stuff. You can't use it to. Um, and obviously things like entertainment, it's not covered. You have to use it for, you know, these care specific types of things, which makes sense, right? Then I found also page 11 to be quite useful. Yes, so this is page 11, which is a pathway to accessing home care package. So it tells you step by step on how you would go about getting a home care package if you do choose to get one. So, first you get an outcome of your assessment, so what level you are. Then you look at the home provider. So you choose a home care provider. And then you work out an agreement, and then you get into a home care agreement, and then you manage your services. And I found this part to be quite a bit difficult, like finding a home care provider. Like, who do you go about doing that? How do you go about choosing? So, I will be making a video on that later on, and also doing a review of the home care provider that my dad is currently using. But if we go further down, so that's a very useful, I think this is a very useful thing. You can see step by step where you're tracking. And then finally, I think, all of this stuff is also quite useful, like how your daily fee is calculated. It goes into detail on how the money is allocated. So if you have time, I think the whole thing is worth reading. But straight off the bat into action mode, I think that you can skip basically all of these things and go straight to the checklist, because this is like a checklist of items that you can straight away get into action and make sure that it makes a difference to your parents or your grandparents or whoever your loved one is. So finding a home care provider and working out the costs. If you just work through these steps, like I will be doing how I went through this checklist, um, then entering to a home care agreement, things you need to think about, and then finally changing providers. I haven't had to use this right now. I've only have experience with these two agreements, but this obviously to contextualize this, this comes into step 2 and 3 of page 11. So if we scroll up and find that page 11 again, you know, obviously the first step is you need to qualify, right? And how these checklists fall in is they fall into this part. Uh, step two, step two, step two, and step 3 and step 4. Step 2, 3, and 4 have checklists. Essentially, the checklists are covering step 2, 3, and 4. So there are a lot of steps involved with this. Like, how do you go about choosing a provider? Well, these are the things you need to think about. But the first step, obviously, is to apply for the home care package and also get an assessment. And yeah, so that's basically the main pages you need to know. Anyway, very quickly, what the documentation you will receive will look like. So you get a letter from, so this is the letter of eligibility. So it tells you um, that you've been eligible, and this tells you what package level you are. And then this tells you that, you know, there are reasons why we assessed you to be a package level 3 instead of, say, a package level 2 or a package level 4. And yeah, and then on page 3, which I haven't included in this letter, is a picture, a letter that says, you know, this patient has this and this condition, he can't do this, this, and this. So this is why it just writes out a report of why they assessed you to be the level that they did. And this second documentation here is after we were, like, you'll get another letter which says, okay, now you've been assigned to this level. So although we were a level 2, we were a level 3, we were on the queue, we were first on level 2 and then we were on the queue for level 3, so we were waiting for it. And so this is a letter to tell you what are the next steps you should take now that now that you are eligible for the package. So part 1, what you may be asked to pay. So that's what you have to pay out of your own pocket. So then the second one's like, okay, you have to find a home care provider. Number 3 is talk to the providers. Part 4 is give you their referral codes. So that's probably the most important thing out of this whole sheet, because, you know, a home care provider, you're essentially paying them. They're only really going to come and look after your loved one if you're paying them money. So giving them the referral code is kind of like giving them your PAN and BSB number. And then it tells you, okay, you need to set up your home care agreement by this and this date, or else blah, 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 blah.